Kev, I got to tell you, I was a fan of yours just from watching on Instagram from afar. It was like, I'm going to support this guy, but from a distance because he keep dissing us. Now that I've actually met you and you've come here, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, nah, for real.
You got
really,
me, buddy.
really dope, man.
Thank you.
You got me. You
And
have my
bad on the diss,
support.
man. Sometimes I'm just throwing jokes, and sometimes that stuff hits for real. But and I was also wrong, and I'm not afraid to say I was wrong. I misunderstood the pod, y'all, and my audience. I didn't know, but now I know.
Guys, this is probably the only time I'll ever say this in regards to somebody else's content. But if you aren't subscribed to Joe Budden's Patreon, I would advise doing so today. And since they just upgraded their Patreon features, you honestly don't even have to subscribe. But I would absolutely pay the $14.50 for this episode. But since we all know Joe watches this channel, Joe, I advise you, I advise Ian, Keith, whoever is in the background behind the scenes and has control over releases, Parks even, I would absolutely advise y'all to put this episode on YouTube if you can get around it, because Kevin was dropping some jewels on this bad boy that I don't know if you could release to the masses, but I absolutely advise putting this episode on YouTube. This was one of the best interviews I've ever seen. This was one of the best interviews I've ever seen. I've never watched an interview, and I'm 37, about to be 38 years old. I've never, ever watched an interview on somebody's outlet or platform that I am a fan of, and that's Joe Budden in this case. I've never watched an interview and then went to follow that person after the interview, and that's what Kev did here. And I didn't like Kev prior to this, and it's funny that he spoke on the situation that I stopped liking him for in this interview, but I'm speaking on that in Patreon. It's gonna be a long video today. Kev was dropping so many jewels in this episode that I need everybody to hear. And if you've never bet on yourself or you have no intentions on betting on yourself, then this is not the interview for you. And I won't even speak on that any further. He was dropping jewels. This is the longest I've ever heard religion spoken about in this manner on this type of a pod. This would be a big deal if the masses saw this interview. I'm just putting that out there. It sounds like I'm highly vested in this. It's because I am. This was a great interview. Great interview. Everybody picked their spots. Let me highlight Mark real quick, because you could tell Mark is actually a fan of KevOnStage. So he was asking very pertinent questions, and he kept the conversation going, which is not a hard thing to do with Kev. This is also the first time in an interview I've heard somebody speak throughout the whole pod and nobody was cutting him off. Everybody wanted to hear what he was saying, outside of Kevin Samuels, but that was for a different reason. Everybody was entranced by what he was saying. But anyway, let's get back to highlighting Mark. Mark had all the perfect questions. He knew enough about Kev in order to segue what he was saying, or in order to get Kev to open up more about what he needed to say. Goodness, that was a great interview. I have nothing negative to say. Just wanted to speak on a couple of clips. And honestly, I don't even know if I could put the clips on, because now they're starting to crack down on the Patreon clips. So I don't even know if I could put the clips on. I'll put a couple of still frames on it, but sheesh, let me put the audio in.
You're one of the people who's willing to actually put his body on Instagram. Like
Yes.
you're willing to be self-deprecating. You do
Yeah.
weight stuff. You do body stuff.
Yes.
Was that hard?
No,
marketing
bro, I'm telling you,
genius.
as a stand-up comedian, there is no greater asset than people realizing you're okay making fun of yourself. Like
fact.
on
And as a podcaster.
as a podcaster,
Seriously.
bro.
Yeah,
If you
that was-
can take the only thing better than giving a good joke is taking a good joke.
Hey, co-host, if y'all heard any part of this 2-hour gym fest from Kev, I hope it was this part. I genuinely hope it was this part. And Flip, because you really didn't say a word, and this is the first time that I'm not going to say anything about you not speaking, because it seemed like you were soaking in what he was saying. This pertains to you. And I was just saying this to you like 2 weeks ago. F what we're saying, F all the static that comes from this. There's a way that you can go about doing what you did to reach the virality that you saw and see without being seen as that person in life. And Kev is the perfect epitome of that. He takes his shirt off more than Flip. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I've seen his clips or I've seen his shorts where he's in the weight room and he's doing making fun of workouts that other bodybuilders or fitness influencers do. And then he'll take his shirt off and make fun of himself not being able to do it in the same manner that they do. Or he'll complete it, but it'll look different because of his body shape. Flip can do the same thing. And he can bring those antics to the JBP without being seen as the quote-unquote imbecile. Because Flip, they still look at you in that light. Even though they gave you your props, even though everybody sees the direction that you're going in, even though everybody notices the change you're making, they still view you as the skit nigga. So you might as well play into it. You might as well get your followers up and do the mature shit that you're doing. I said continue it. I didn't say go back to it. Add back to it or add it on. And then Melissa is actually pretty good at this, which is why Joe keeps her on. She could be a whole lot more serious than she is, given how much attention is shown her direction. But she plays into a lot of it, and she plays off of a lot of it well. So I'm not going to really tell her to play into it more. But the person that would benefit from the most, or this the most, is Ish. I would say Ice, but regardless if we want to give him credit or not, he has gotten a lot better at this. It's just he doesn't know how to give in fully yet. But Ish won't give into it at all, which is funny because he takes a lot of the criticism. But if he would play into it as opposed to just laughing, or that's what Flip tries to do a lot with Ish. He tries to get him to make fun of himself, but it comes off abrasive because it's coming from Flip and his way of explaining things, as opposed to just playing off of this shit. Like when Joe does it, he's trying to do it playful banter. That's why I got off of their case, because I used to bring a lot of light to that, but I got off of that. If Ish would play into this, instead of being the old geezer on the pod, this shit could take off. And Mark is trying to show them in spades how to do it on the Ian and Mark show. I just said it yesterday. Every episode, Mark plays more and more and more into the community. And some of the community members are offended by that. Flip is offended by that, instead of viewing it in the way that Kevin explained. But god damn, like I said, it's going to be a long Patreon episode today because Kevin was dropping jewels, and I don't know if Joe or anyone from the JBN wants this on the airwaves as of yet. If I see them drop it on YouTube, I swear to God, I'll put that Patreon episode on YouTube. But Kev was dropping gems, and I know I wasn't trying to listen to anything he said because of what happened during the pandemic, or like it was really in 2021, 2022. I know I wasn't trying to hear a word he said, but I couldn't turn it off. Normally I have to listen to the pod in segments, but even during work, I'm pausing it, doing what I have to do, coming right back to it. Push play. Like I want to listen to this in its entirety. Like I already finished the whole entire pod. But like I said, if you're not subscribed to the Patreon, check it out. If you are, check it out already. Because my goodness, I would never have anticipated it. And another thing that I noticed now that they got rid of the BTS is they're not going to be showing who's an upcoming interview on the show, which lets me believe that I saw a comment on Patreon speaking about this too. This is just the press run. Patreon now is a press run. There's a reason that every individual piece that they have on Patreon has a dollar amount next to it now. Fuck the tiers. It's not even about the tiers at this point. It's not even about the tiers at this point. But like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know how we rocking. You already know what it is over here. Sheesh. So much to say about this interview. I'll see y'all a little later today. Peace.